The history of Leather Nunn started in about 1983. Met a drummer named Jimmy Evans through a battle of the bands at a talent show at Lee High School in Jacksonville, Florida. He and I started talking, and we decided we wanted to put a heavy metal band together because there really were none in Jacksonville. We started with a very basic lineup. Actually saved up the money to start some recording. Went to a local studio, recorded a song, and a local radio station, Jacksonville Rock 105, had a heavy metal ward where they put local bands up and people would call in and vote. We actually won it by a landslide. They did it twice. We thought we were on top of the world. As things progressed, we wanted to get bigger and better. Equipment was hard to come by. Nobody had a really good paying job or anything. So Jimmy had this way of finding people that had gear. And if they had gear, you could be part of the band. Jimmy moved from his grandmother's garage across the street to a house that is one of the few properties in Jacksonville that has a basement. We moved down there, set up a band room, had two smaller rooms to the side that he rented out to other bands. The bands that would come in, he would scope them out for what they could offer. One of them was Jim Mean, who ended up being the Leather Nunn bass player. He worked at the Navy base, had a good job, therefore he had lots of PA and equipment. Jim was the new bass player for Leather Nunn. Jimmy rode by San Juan Avenue one night. There was a storefront in there that some guys had a whole stage set up in this little room, and guy was in there playing guitar. He stopped by. That ended up being John Gouchnour. Took a lot of convincing for John. John was not a metal guy, but we were kind of the biggest thing going in town at the time. He finally accepted. John brought a lot of PA and gear to the band.
I was in the band where Jerry had mentioned on San Juan Avenue. We were doing basic rock and roll stuff. And in walked this guy, Jimmy Evans, introduced himself, said that he was scouting people for his new band called Leather Nunn. And I said, huh? I said, well, I said, I was been looking around wanting to get something else going. And this might be the ticket that you're offering. So I went and checked them out, and it went really well. I mean, I did like a interview, on my guitar, and Jimmy really impressed me with his double bass kicking. He was really good at it, and I ended up being joined to the band. I did not know Billy Davidson was in that band at the time, but I guess it really didn't matter because they were really trying to put together the super band, the best person for the job, so to speak.
Well, Leather Nunn, like Jerry said, Leather Nunn was already popular by the time I got into the band, and it was one of those things where I was actually rehearsing in Jimmy's basement with another band, and I was just a guitar player. I wasn't even really a singer, and I think I got fired from the band that I was a guitar player, and I can't remember. I was fired, and I wanted to do something, and I heard that they had an opening, so I just went over there one night and just screamed to the microphone, and it just worked, I guess. And I have no idea. Maybe Jerry could answer. Like, I have no idea how they accepted me, but I started. No, that's not true. I was a singer before. I'd done musical theater as a kid, so I knew how to sing, but I wasn't really doing the metal thing. And I was a violin player and I was a guitar player, so I knew a little bit about music. And so, but I knew about theater, and so I knew how to like get people engaged. I knew how to engage an audience. And so I think that was more of what my contribution was, more than my vocal prowess at the moment. Because I was only 15. Yes, was I 14 or 15?
15.
So I was 15.
Barely 15.
I was barely 15. And these guys are like, yeah, you scream good enough. You know how to engage a crowd. So yeah, you're in the band. And then we would play lots of shows and, rinks. And back in the day, this is the 80s, guys. This is the 80s when like, you would rent a hall and you would call your friends, pass out flyers, and you could get 500-600 people there because people wanted to be together. People wanted to be in a group. The energy that was so exciting, and we made money, and we made enough money where we could go in and make a record, And we finally made the record "Take the Night," and so I guess I can move us on in that, but. Before we go talk about that, I do want to talk about Jimmy Evans, who are the original drummer, who just passed away, and that's one of the things I do want to mention, that his passing is what brought us all together again. So we're all sitting in this room right now talking about the resurgence of Leather Nunn, or at least talking about the history of Leather Nunn, and I hadn't seen any of you guys in years, and we all met at Jimmy's memorial. Jimmy was one of those guys where, just like these guys were talking about, if he wanted to make it happen, he would make it happen. Like he wouldn't stop. Now, and I respect that about him. Leather Nunn probably wouldn't be what it is. I know Leather Nunn wouldn't be what it is now without Jimmy's perseverance. So I really respect him for that. And his death brought us back together. What's cool about Jimmy is that he had such a drive in him, and regardless of whether we got along or not, I have to respect his drive. And that was one of the magic things is we did butt heads, and through that butting heads, magic happened. But he had, and Jerry, you correct me, you know him better. Like he had some heart problems, he had some operations.
It was actually thyroid. He had thyroid cancer, I believe, at a very young age. And
right.
He had to have a lot of tissue removed, and because it was at a very young age, it caused his chest to bow. They told him he would never do what he's doing.
Right. And he said, "Fuck you, I'm going to."
That's
Jimmy.
And
he would, just like John said, he would be out there practicing 8 hours a day after he would practice just on his feet. At some point he couldn't use his hands, he couldn't use his arms, but he just practiced doing double bass. That's why he became such a double bass master. He's like, "Fuck you. Don't tell me what I can do." And that's one thing I respect about Jimmy.
Yep.
Is he's like, "Don't tell me I can't do it. I will fucking do it." And sure enough, he did. He became this double bass master because he couldn't use his hands for a while, and he just learned how to do all this shit on his feet. And then he, started bringing his hands. He was a great drummer, great drummer, no doubt about it. And then, as we'll move forward, we'll learn that you guys learn that we're back together now for a couple of shows, because of a friend, Josh, your friend Josh, who kind of put us back together, who's doing a big show out here in Tampa at the time of this recording. But we made this one record called "Take the Night." It did well in Southeast. It did really well, and people were very excited about it. But we had, and then eventually, I think if I'm not, I don't remember a lot. So there's a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs back then. So I don't remember a lot. But I remember like that we were very popular, but also at the same time, I didn't think we were internationally popular until the band had disbanded and I had moved out to LA. Me and the original bass player, our bass player Jim, had moved out to LA to form another band. And then years later, we're starting to get these fan letters, and we started getting interest in a record company from Greece They're like, can we re-release your record? And I was like, I guess. Why was anybody want to see that? Well, the original vinyl recording of Take the Night, we would find at that time was on eBay for like $3,000 a copy. And it was a collector's item. And it apparently we had become this underground European metal cult-like thing. So very, very pleased, but we had no idea. I didn't know. And then comes to find out Leather Nunn has been something that has been affecting people in the metal community for a long, long time. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where we're really grateful. We're sitting here. This is the year 2026 of our 40-year anniversary of filming. Not filming. I'm sorry, I'm an actor. It's just flipped out. Of recording Take the Night 40 years ago. I was 16 when we recorded that. And we recorded the entire record in 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days.
And we did all of the vocals in one take, all the way through. That's how, as you can see, if you listen to the record, I start weaker as all of a sudden by the end of the record, you're like, but anyway, it was one of those things where we captured lightning in a bottle. And it was just a bunch of dumb kids with never say die attitude. We weren't going to let anything stop us. We dressed funny. We sang. We dressed like Poison before Poison, and we sounded like Black Sabbath. And it was like one of those things where it didn't make sense, but it made sense. And I think one cool thing about Leather Nunn is, like Jerry had mentioned, there was no metal scene. I mean, we had 38 Special. We had Leonard Skinner. Like we're very proud we came from a musical town, but there was no metal. And I don't know if they're going to admit it or if they know it, but the Limp Bizkits and who's the one other we were talking about? All the metal bands, Shinedown, all those guys, whether they know it or not, whether they can admit it or not. Like Leather Nunn was the very first metal band out of Jacksonville, so I'm very proud of that. And even if they don't know that, the metal scene was laid out because Leather Nunn started there. You know what I mean? So we're very proud of that
foundation.
Yeah, we kind of founded that, whether they like it or not. The cool thing about the classic lineup is Take the Night, is the guitar styles between Jerry and John are totally different. It's night and day, but when they get together, it's like this guitar duo that I've never heard another band do it. It's like Jerry is like, how do I describe it? When Jerry plays, it's like a mad scientist with drills and he knows how to make a guitar do things that a guitar's not supposed to do. And then when John says he wasn't really in metal in the first place, John comes from this traditional, almost classical world of guitar playing. And when you put these two guys together, it's like it's nothing I've ever heard of before. So if you love guitar metal and you love that something you never heard before, Take the Night is definitely something to check out. My musical influences were, I started, everybody my age loved Kiss, so I was a Kiss fanatic. And oddly enough, when I got to LA years later, I became friends with some of those guys, which is very, 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 very cool. That's a whole nother story. But Kiss, and then grew up mostly in Tennessee. I grew up in Tennessee, which was 0 to 12 musical theater. I was a theater brat, and then moved to Jacksonville, and there was no theater, so I joined Leather Nunn. But my family was we were involved in some. If you've ever seen Sons of Anarchy, that's my family basically. Like we're heavily involved in biker community, and dare I say some of the biker club communities, and so I just grew up wrong. Completely wrong. And but music has always been a thing, music and acting, and that's what I do now. I'm a full-time musician and full-time actor, which I'm very blessed to be. But my upbringing was messed up. It wasn't messed up, it's perfect, but it wasn't normal. You know what I mean? It wasn't normal at all. So it was it was motorcycles and mayhem. And which now that I think about it, it was perfect.
I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, and I started learning how to play guitar when I was 13. My older brother played, so he kind of helped teach me along the way. And at that time, Leonard Skinner was still out. They hadn't plane crashed yet, and I was learning their songs with some other neighborhood kids that were on drums and stuff like that. And I just practiced every day when I got home from work. From school. I'm sorry. I'd take 8 hours a night staying in my room playing, and all you had back then was a record player or a cassette, and I kept having to lift the needle up and restart it over and over, trying to learn songs until I could perfect, what they were doing. And so I ended up being moved by bands like Kiss, AC/DC, Ted Nugent, any of those bands back in that day, and started learning their stuff and started my own band, and eventually got with Leather Nunn, and that's how I came into playing the guitar and falling in love with my hobby that I love to do so much.
I grew up, my parents were kind of hippies, so I grew up listening to Led Zeppelin, a lot of Black Sabbath, and when I got old enough to choose my own taste, of course it was Kiss. They were the biggest thing in the 70s. Kiss and Sabbath probably drew me towards playing guitar the most, and probably for the theatrics of it too. They were a very visual band that added a lot to it. No kind of outlet anywhere to even think about having a band in Waycross, Georgia. It's just not going to happen. So when we moved here, it became very easy. Like I said before, hanging out in a music shop, some guys walked in, heard me noodling around. Hey, come play. You're hired. From that point on, I try to keep up with what is modern. I started moving in, of course, the 80s hair metal bands. Favorite one being Rat. I really enjoyed Rat a lot. I thought Warren DeMartini's an amazing guitar player. About the time Leather Nunn disbanded, Pantera was the thing. They were up and coming, and Dimebag is the shit. So I decided I wanted to have a band like that, which was a big ask for being here in Jacksonville. So I did a project that became really big here until, once again, drugs and alcohol disbanded that. Got a Pro Tools rig in my house. I have a studio, started writing my own stuff, kind of doing the Fear Factory industrial metal kind of thing. And then Jimmy passed, and that was a big shakeup for everybody. It got us all in a room together again. The three of us never rehearsed together before that show. It was with the other musicians separately. And the first song on the stage, it was The Magic again. It was just, it felt so good. It felt right. I've been playing by myself for probably 10 years. And a band and a live amp is everything. So here we are. We're going to try it again. The writing process for Leather Nunn was kind of unique, but yet very simple. We didn't overthink it. We had a guitar player. We had another great guitar player. We had a guy that played drums. And we had a guy that played bass. And we had a guy that sang. So John and I, the two guitar players, we came up with all the riffs. If there was a part I was hung on, he'd contribute a part, vice versa. And then once we had a riff down, we would sit down with the drummer. He pretty much came up with stuff first shot. There were things that would know we needed to be this way, and he would do that as well. Then once that was done, Wade would hear the finished song, and he'd start scribbling on a pad of paper. And then, of course, Jimmy and I, being the dark overlords of the project, we would tweak a little bit, a line here or there, but it's 100% Wade.
Don't blame all that on me.
But that's actually the way it all went. It was really very simple. So songwriting, as far as the music, was mainly John and myself, and then Wade had complete control lyric-wise, and Jimmy always did his own thing.
The writing process, what's really funny is that I don't remember a lot. I really don't. And it's interesting. I'm so glad that Jerry and John are here because I don't recall a lot. It's funny. Before we started the interview, we were talking about this classic record that we did, "Take the Night," and Jerry, you were mentioning how all the lyrics are the songs are "Take the Night," "Taking Ground," "Take Me Back," "Take the Night," take, and it dawned on me. I didn't realize that I was in a taking mood when I was 16. It was just a take. Very selfish, very grandiose. Like, gimme. I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going to be this. And so it was all about take. And I got that I love that process of taking what you want, taking it. And I still do that today. But I take it, and I take it with kinder and softer gloves. But I take what I want. I take, if I want it, if I think I deserve it, if I think my family needs it, if I deserve it, I take it. I'll make it happen. And so that was my MO back then. It's my MO today. So a lot of the lyrics are about taking something that you want. A lot of the lyrics on there, I mean, you can listen to the lyrics. They're from a 16-year-old kid. It's lustful and it's ridiculous and it's funny. I listen to it now and I laugh, and at the same time, like, it does affect people. Like, the songs have really affected people, and we have our own channel. We have our own channel on Pandora. We have our own channel on YouTube, and I don't know who put them up there, and I don't care. I just know the songs are still touching people in a very interesting way. I do think Leather Nunn has a sound that no other band has, and it's because none of us were really trained. I don't think none of us were really trained. We just got together. We threw in what we did. I wasn't a very high singer at the time. I didn't hit the high notes. I was just a growly kind of Dio singer, and I was only 16. And so I would just write in my own voice, which if I recall wasn't really that much other than growling. And like I said, Leather Nunn was more of a theater band than musical prowess. But at the same time, these guys are great guitar players. So what the hell do I know? I don't remember writing a lot. I just remember, recording the record. There's been a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, a lot of brain damage between 1986 and now. So that's my answer.
Well, you also set a lot of shit on fire too in the band room.
Did I really?
Remember you burnt the banners down one night with the flash pods?
No.
Torch.
No, I on purpose I did.
You were lighting something and the flaming rag came off and hit the leather side of the thing. And,
really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Was it a live show?
Oh yeah, we never stopped.
Oh, that's so cool. Did anybody get hurt?
No.
Okay.
Everybody was good.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Like Jerry said, we did most of the songwriting between both of us. If Jerry wrote a song, Jerry would do the lead to that song. Same difference with me. If I wrote the song, then I did the lead to that song. And you can hear that on each take on the album. And that would also let you know who wrote what. If it isn't in writing, you can tell like which song I wrote and which songs Jerry wrote. It all seemed to mix together really well. And we accent each other, so to speak. And unlike Wade, a lot of it I don't remember writing. I mean, I do remember being in that band room, the convent was what we called it. And we never missed a day.
That's true.
I mean, we were a band. We were there every day, even if it was Christmas.
It was a machine.
Yeah, like a machine. And we were there. That's all. And so that's why it pretty much came easy writing the songs, because we're there so long that we had nothing else to do. I mean, it was like and we spent every moment together. Like if we went to the beach, everybody went to the beach.
That's true.
Or if we went to a party, we all went to the party. Yeah. It was like we were a family, like a real band.
We were a biker club, man. Yeah, we were
like a real band.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. You're absolutely right. That's exactly what we did.
And but as far as the writing goes, like I never wrote a single lyric on any of the album. And that was like Jerry said, 100% Wade. Yep. And him, Jerry, and Jimmy would share on editing the lyrics.
A word.
Tweak it here and there. But other than that, it was really simple. I think we had all the writing done within 6 months of practicing together, and then we decided to do the album, and it was just funny. Our bass player Jim kind of lent us the money to do the album with, but he made sure we paid him back with every show that we had.
So that's where the money went. Okay.
Yeah, so he made sure.
I didn't know that.
His mom and everybody would work the door so that they'd get the money back for all our shows.
We do want to talk about that, though. We were the only band in town that I think we opened up our own club. We called it the Convent. And so we would play there. We would headline our own club every weekend. That was genius. It was so stupid, but it was genius. We would headline our own club every weekend. We'd bring in opening bands. Mm-hmm. We'd pack the place. And we had our own, I used to have hair. I swear to God, I used to have hair. Oh, that was
Jacksonville
Pavilion.
Beach Flag Pavilion.
Yes.
And we had the Guardian Angels were there.
Yeah.
And it was for something for their cause of youth safety.
That's right. Yeah. But back again, that's when you could rent out a hall and which I think we should do again, honestly. I'll tell you later. But I think we should do the same thing. You could rent out a hall and people wanted to be together. It was a community. It was something they wanted to do. And we could get, 1,000 people there, enjoying heavy, local, original heavy metal music. It was really interesting.
You remember who came to the show? Billy Powell from Skynyrd and Mark Farner.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my God. I totally remember that. Mark
Farner from
oh my God, I totally forgot that. Mark Farner cornered me backstage. Now here's a little something, your metalheads. I'm a born again Christian conservative, and I was not back in the day. Mark Farner cornered me backstage, and he goes, totally remember. He goes, the Lord has His hand on you, and the Lord's going to do something with your life. And I went,
all right, weirdo.
all right,
weirdo.
Christian weirdo. And it's so bizarre that I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre. Mark Farner was he was trying to preach the gospel to me backstage, and only took 40 years to get to me after that. Yeah.
Well, he was telling us how good we were, how good we sounded. He's also telling us about a new band him and Billy Powell working on a side project called Synergy. It was another band.
That's so cool. That's the reunion show.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Jimmy's granddaughter.
Oh,
with Jim.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That was live.
Yeah, she's grown now.
That's crazy, right?
I mean, she was on stage, right?
Yeah.
When we were playing.
Yep. That's Peelers on the Deck at Jack's Beach.
Mm-hmm.
We did that exact show probably every other week.
Yeah, we made. Weren't we raising money to record some more, or we were raising money to get to L.A. or something?
I don't remember.
Yeah, good. I'm glad there's something you don't remember. So you remember everything else.
I remember y'all bought that big old school bus and turned it into a.
I totally forgot about that. We did. We bought it. What the hell happened to the school bus?
I don't know. Y'all turned it into like a RV.
I remember buying the bus, but I don't remember.
It's when y'all
doing
practiced
anything.
over there
That's
off
right.
the Highway
It's set
Avenue.
outside Highway Avenue right there by the band room. That's where I met my first wife.
Really?
Yeah, sitting on that bus, getting high. That is at the Cedar Hills Armory.
Oh.
That was one of the first shows we did.
We would rent
Correct.
out.
We rented a venue.
Yeah, we rented a place and make it happen. Back in the day, bands didn't rely on social media, obviously, because there wasn't any.
There was no internet.
There was no internet.
No cell phone.
And it was just word of mouth, and it was a revival. It was kind of a thing where you found a place, you made it happen. You make it happen. And we did. We'd make it happen. We'd find places, armories and things, and we'd rent them out. And
none of the bars wanted to hire us.
All over Florida, and we would make it happen. Yeah. And we developed a huge following by putting it in your face. Like, here's the thing. We weren't just a band. We were entrepreneurs. We were bigger than that. We wanted something more than just being a great band. We wanted to be a band with we just wanted to be more. We wanted to do, because we didn't have record company help. We didn't have money behind us. It was like we had to go out and make it happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
She wears an iron cross around her neck, her face as cold as ice. Worship her as the immortal figure. If you don't, you'll pay the price. So wrap your arms around her as she leads you down the path. Choose the road she shows you. Oh, you feel mighty ready.
We got together for a show. It was 15 years, 14 years ago now, right?
Yeah,
2010.
2010.
We got together for one show, and what it was going to do, it was going to kick off a tour, a European tour. So this was 2010. We did one show in Jacksonville. It was very successful. People showed up all from all over, everywhere to see it. And I have to blame I don't know if I blame myself, but after doing the show, I just found out that my wife at the time was pregnant, and they were talking about we're going to Europe, and Jimmy, God bless him, I love him, but we were having issues immediately, like it was back when I was 16 again. We're in the backstage fighting, and I'm like, I'm not getting on a plane. I'm not doing that. I can't do a tour and have a brand new baby and do all that stuff. So I was like, this isn't the right time. And so that show was our reunion show. It was a very successful show, and it was supposed to pop off into another tour, but it didn't.
That's also the show that we got Rob blind.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah. Guy took all the money and paid him and his friends and everybody, and we got pennies.
I totally forgot about that
Yes,
too.
sir.
Wow. Glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
I remember that you came to my house afterwards, said, "What's up?" And I was like, "That's it."
Yeah, we were expecting thousands. I think we made $20 a piece.
Oh, it was easily over 10 grand.
Yeah.
But it was like $250.
Yeah.
I would say a good 10 years ago, I came across them, and it was one of those, because I'm a big guy that's like into like really obscure bands and stuff, and I see the cover in front of the church or whatever that is, and I'm like, man, this looks fucking cool. And then I'm like, all right, Leather Nunn, that sounds metal. So, and then, I start playing it. I think it was YouTube, because for whatever reason, you guys aren't on Spotify anymore. And I was like, what? I don't know why that got taken off, but I'm on YouTube and I'm looking, and what I do is I kind of just skip through, because if I like any of it, I don't want to listen to it on YouTube. I'm going to try to find a record or CD or whatever. So I'm like, okay, this sounds cool enough. Let me get the fucking record. And I get the record. First off, let me just add that original pressing is like fucking thousands of dollars, by the way. So luckily I found a reissue, and it was still like $100 for a reissue. So I get it and I'm playing it, right? And I'm like, okay, this first song, okay, cool. Pulls way out. And I'm like, I go into Leather Nunn, the second song, and it's like, I'm like, okay, something's wrong here. It sounds like it's slowed down. It was so heavy. And I'm like, fuck. Dude, I'm like, all right, this guy, what the hell's going to happen here? And he comes out with clean vocals, and it works. It was so different. The chainsaw guitars, I don't even know how they got that sound back then. But it was just very, very unique as far as the sound that they had. And as far as you guys were what, maybe early 20s or teens?
I was 16.
Teens?
These guys were
I was gonna say, okay, wow.
19.
I was like,
So they weren't even, you're not even talking like seasoned veterans here.
Oh, no.
But somehow that song, and a lot of the songs on that record came out somehow like they were pros. You know, there obviously some things here and there. People might be like, well, they could have done that better, this better. But you got to think that was towards the end of traditional metal, because at that time you had thrash coming in and death coming in. So it was one of those things that were like less to look at. And I think that's why it took 40 years, not for everybody, but to go into that cult metal when people are looking back now and being like, wait a second, how did we miss this one? And unfortunately, the band only had the one release. But so when I heard, you know, I'm listening and I'm like, this is fucking badass. So I'm singing the song like for weeks in my head. I'm like, I can't get this shit out of my head, the guitars and everything. So, and then just the open chords, everything's just perfect. So I'm like, man, I missed out all these years. So I go, you know, I'm like, wait a second, I'm looking, and I'm like, Jacksonville, what the hell? So, you know, one of those things when you're reading on the, you know, the history of the band. So I start reaching out to people. And then Wade, I think it was a couple years ago, whatever it was, he kind of like, you kind of like the first couple messages, you kind of like, all right, this guy's probably some weirdo. You didn't really.
I get a lot.
He didn't really message me back, so I kept trying. And then I think like another half a year goes by, then another year, then I'm like, dude. So I kept just going on and on with him, and we finally start talking. And then we fast forward all the way up to a few months ago, and we meet up at that little OCC.
Yeah.
And that's where we are now, and it made it happen. But I wanted them, as far as for BAHRF, I was like, man, I want people to see these guys. I wanted a lot of the European crowd that would love to see them, that may have never seen them, you know, to come to BAHRF if they could. And people all over America that was like, hey, this is going to be possibly the only show in America, or for a while, who knows what's going to happen here. But this is the first real show they played in about 37 to 40 years, whatever. The fan that I was and am. And I was like, you know, there's a lot of people that would love to see you guys play, and that I do this festival called Barrier Hard Rock Fest, BAHRF. And that's where it kind of was like, okay, well, you know, funny enough, we've had other people kind of mention us and want us to play, you know, their festivals also. So we were kind of like trying to work something out where like BAHRF would be like possibly like this catapult to get the band, you know, for lack of a better word, back on the map kind of deal. You know, so I think it kind of brought and then with Jimmy's passing and everything, it kind of brought everybody's, you know, back together again. And yeah, I just really wanted them to play BAHRF. I thought it would be an awesome fit with the style that we do, because we have other, you know, bands that have not played for 40 years, if not just, you know, in Florida or at all. So it's really becoming around the whole theme of this year's BAHRF is like the bands that haven't played in 40 years. And it's awesome for fans like me to see that, you know, because again, man, I mean, people are just dropping left and right here lately, and it's freaking crazy. So it's like, we got to do this before. I mean, who knows, man? I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's funny because Josh mentioned he'd written me several times, and my apologies. I get a lot of letters, and I'm so grateful. And here, if you've written me a letter, and you've told me how much you love the band, thank you. And I'm sorry that I haven't gotten back to you, but I get a lot, which sounds arrogant, but it's not. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't. I wasn't in a mental place to discuss Leather Nunn for many, many years. I've moved on. I'm an actor. I make a living in music, but it's not heavy metal. I'm a country music singer now. Don't turn off the TV just yet. So I make a living singing country music. I write for other people. I write for TV and film. I'm an actor. I've got a lot of movies out there. So every time a Leather Nunn thing would come up, I just go, oh, okay, all right. It was like there's some point you want to let go of your past. You know, you got to move forward. And then it was like Josh said, it was the perfect storm because, you know, when Jimmy passed, we all got up and did an impromptu 4-5-6 from the album, from 4-5-6 from the record, and it was just wonderful. It was I couldn't believe it was like we hadn't missed a beat. It was like we had not missed a beat in 40 years. And I was like, wow, this is something special. And like the next week, Josh found me at a convention. OCC. And he brought the record. He brought his family. I had to meet his family. And I signed the record for him. And I just saw the genuineness in his heart about how what a fan he was. And he convinced me that there are people still that want to see us and that were touched by our record. And at least he's like, dude, this is the 40th year anniversary of your record. And I said, is it really? He's like, yeah, we got to do something. We got to do something now. And so like just his energy was one of those things. Like, so I called up you guys, called up Jerry and John almost immediately. I was like, there's a guy down here in Florida that wants to put us back together for at least a show. So are you guys interested? And then Josh got involved. We started talking to us all. And you know, Josh kind of put us all back together. So, that's how it was for me. You know, once you saw the passion behind what Josh was doing, and then to be on stage with these guys who people have talked about it for years. I've gotten the same thing that Josh sent me. People have been emailing me that for years, and it just wasn't the right time. And it just turns out this is the right time.
When he said, yeah, let's do it, I was still like, all right, is he just saying this? Or is this really going to happen? And then when he got everybody else involved, and I had reached out to them on Facebook and stuff, I don't know if they had known yet. And then when I announced them, that's when I was like, okay, this is really happening. Because I was like, okay, Wade's going to be like, dude, I was drunk that night or something. I had to take that down.
I was totally kidding.
So,
a butt
I
dial.
know you were serious. But like, but no, I think I'm really hoping that people will get into the band, obviously before BAHRF, also look into them and check it out. You know, if you're putting some of this out before then. Because you don't want to miss a chance to see an awesome band like this. I mean, 40th anniversary of the record, and 4 original members, right? You guys are going to have.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then we've got Brent
Smedley
from Iced Earth.
from Iced Earth, yeah.
Yeah.
This is just an insane lineup. You don't get to see that because a lot of times when you see these bands that haven't played in a while, it's one guy. It's the bass player or the guitar player. So to get something this awesome, you really don't want to miss this. And I hope people, you know, look at that as something like, man, this is just a real treat to see something like this, you know. And that's what I was trying to do. I was like, what can I give the people plus the band and myself being, you know, I'm stingy here because I want to see you guys.
So there's the answer. That right there, that energy, that passion, that he's a fan and he's a professional and he's a producer, a promoter. Just to see that's
It's
why
genuine.
It's genuine.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's so many other people that feel the same way, and I'm like, really? And he's like, yes, we have to do this. I was like, so we're doing it. That's it. So Leather Nunn's getting back together for the 40th year anniversary of Take the Night.
It was terrible. It was a tragedy that kind of got us all back in the same room and on the same stage again. But it was immediate electricity, and we were still kind of riding that high a little bit. And it wasn't even a couple of weeks later, I get a phone call from Wade about Josh. And it's sad to say that your first instincts these days are not trust. You know, it's like everybody's got an angle. Wade convinced me how genuine he was. He got us in a chat together. I picked up on it immediately. I was like, good guy. His intentions are good. The research this festival. It's been going on for a while. And it was an instant yes. It was like, why not? If everybody else is down, I'm down. I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
What took so long? I'm ready to go now.
Yeah.
Just show me the way in.
And that's actually what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always gung-ho. I don't have anything to hold me back. You know, I don't have any children. I'm not married. I'm single, ready to
mingle.
always ready to play in the band. You know, so it was a yes right off the get-go. And I said, but I wanted to know Wade's opinion. I said, but I like your opinion first because I trust you, and you know, and I just wanted to make sure it was for real, like Jerry.
Jimmy was one of the best friends I ever had. He and I had known each other since I was 16 and he was 19. He was I'm an only child, but he was literally like my older brother. And we had been there from the beginning. It had, we built this thing ourselves and it was monumental to us. But with the success of the band came all the stuff that takes down every band. It started with the drinking, a lot of cocaine. Jimmy really went off the deep end with the rock star thing, a lot of cocaine, and it started to really affect relationships inside the band. Because of a lot of this activity, him and Wade hated each other, and it was brutal. I always tried to be the outside mitigator, but it got to a point to where nobody even cared what I had to say anymore. It was either this guy or this guy. So Wade came into practice one night, said that he had it. Jimmy had missed like multiple practices and left early and showed up late. And he just came right out in front of everybody and said, he goes or I go. And the way the band was always run, it was ran as a democracy. It was everybody had a vote. So if Jimmy was in the hot seat, then it's 4 other people deciding his fate. Jim sided with Wade. Wade had his own opinion. I tried to remain neutral. I tried probably harder than anybody to keep everything together, but the reasons were 100% legit. So John got very upset because him and Jimmy were good friends too. And John immediately got up and announced that if Jimmy was out, he quit. So both of them left on the same night. And for me, it was very tragic, especially with Jimmy. John and I have had our differences, musical taste and whatever, but I never not wanted to be in a band with him. It seemed like all the success we had was just sucked right out of the room in about a second. But fast forward a couple of weeks, there was a new drummer in the room. He was phenomenal, great guy. And we just decided to go forward with one guitar player. And a lot of the people that got into us after the album called that Leather Nunn 2.0. And there's a huge fan base for that too. It moved forward. We were good.
We played a lot of great big shows too.
Florida Theater opened
Yep.
for Winger. We did a lot of bigger shows. It seemed to progress after a while, but that eventually failed too, that we'll discuss here shortly.
Well, basically, I was going to say what the ending of the band was, in my opinion, also was the band was wanting to do more music, and we were starting to get heavier and heavier. And I was the guy in the band that wanted to go more mainstream than heavier. And Metallica was coming out, and all these other new bands, and I was like wanting to be Bon Jovi and Def Leppard, and I was kind of bumping heads with them, and they were like, no, we want to go heavier. And that kind of leaned to my side, that when they were getting rid of Jimmy, that I was going to quit too, because Jimmy was my friend at the time. We were like buds, you know, that was who we went out with all the time. And I just wanted to go a different direction in music, as all that was. And it was a really bad, long night, that last show we did.
It's interesting because I had asked Jerry earlier today what happened, because I didn't remember. I didn't remember. I don't remember any of it. But what I do remember is Leather Nunn 2.0 we had this success. We went on, we opened up for big bands. And I remember playing at Jack's Beach for July 12th or July 4th once.
Yep.
10,000 people showed up, and I was like, okay, this is the thing. And then we recorded something. We recorded 4 or 5 songs.
The EP.
And it was heavier. And it was technically maybe better, but it wasn't magic. It didn't have the magic of John and Jerry playing together. It didn't have the magic that Jimmy brought. And so ultimately, like I discussed earlier, like I'm one of those people, I'm very driven, I'm very passionate. I want to move forward. And maybe that's what I did that night when I said, you know, it's either Jimmy or me. I mean, in retrospect, and I was a kid, you know, and I was a kid. I should have said, hey, Jimmy's got a problem. Let's see if we can't help him. Let's see if we can't, you know, work this. Because ultimately, it's the original thing that makes it work. You know, you can't, you know, replace Robert Plant and expect to call it Zeppelin. You know what I mean? So we got successful, but it was the original album. It's taking that album that has the magic on it. And so at that point, I wanted to move out to LA, me and Jim, and I asked Jerry and Matt, I was our drummer at the time. Matt, Jerry, and Jim and Jerry were going to move out to L.A. and we're going to take our stuff there. Jerry didn't want to go for whatever reason, and so we got another guitar player, and we went out to L.A. and I spent 20 years in L.A. Between music and acting and whatnot. So the end of it was two ends. Leather Nunn ended twice. You talked about the night that Jerry. So when Jimmy left, that Leather Nunn ended and a new Leather Nunn started. But we're here to celebrate Leather Nunn,
original,
Leather Nunn 1.0. We're here to celebrate the album because that's where the magic really was.
I started to get into Metallica, Pantera. My musical style started wanting to tune down, be darker. Not so much with the speed thing, just a really dark tone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's caused a fork in a lot of stuff too, especially for John. And then later on, Wade became very uncomfortable with some of it. He was writing a lot of his own music. He had ideas of his own, and he knew he wasn't going to be able to do that in Leather Nunn. And he was respectful of that. And they all showed up in my driveway one night and said, "We're quitting your band." And you remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Latrell's driveway.
Really?
All three of y'all.
Well, at least we came over to say, at least they told you to your face, I guess.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That was nice.
We never had any bad blood, Wade, ever.
Okay.
We always spoke to each other. We respected each other, and it was okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
And then y'all did Children for a while, and then a couple of months later,
we went to LA.
Several months later, y'all came back. We did Leather Nunn again for a brief while.
Wait a minute. What? We did?
Yes.
Really?
Then y'all got Mark and moved out to California, and that was the final nail. I ended up forming another band with some local musicians that was called Chronic Reality, and everyone said it was kind of reminded them of a baby Pantera. Very edgy, very groovy, tuned down.
Wasn't it like 9 Inch Nails before 9 Inch Nails kind of thing? Like, do you feel that? Because I remember listening to some of it, and it was like, it was ahead of its time. Yeah.
This was definitely more in that groove, kind of with a little bit of a thrash edge to it a little bit. And then after that disbanded, I ended up creating a project where I'm doing everything in the studio myself that is Doomsday Refreshment Committee. And that stuff is like
such a great name.
Industrial metal. Okay. And it's a lot of synthesizers, a lot of syncopated guitars tuned to B and A, screamy, distorted vocals. That's what I'd been doing for years by myself until this happened. And I tell you, the first time you get up on a stage and you're not playing through a Kemper plugged into your interface, and it's a real amp with a 412 cabinet, that's the way. It was magic.
And what's very cool about that last statement is I have no idea what you're talking about. Nothing, none at all. It's wonderful. I have no idea. The fucking gearheads everywhere. I have no clue what you're talking about. But being on stage is the shit, man. It's the stuff. It's the stuff,
Listen to studio monitors compared to a loud as hell 412.
Well, the reason we're all here is because that Jimmy's Memorial was so fucking magical, man. It was.
I miss him every day. It's crazy, and as much as we used to fight, bitch, and argue, I miss him. He
was a powerhouse. One of my bucket list things was to sing for Black Sabbath at some point. Dio was definitely my guy. Yeah,
you could have been one of the 14 they had.
I was on track to replace Lane after he passed for Alice in Chains. So I was friends with Mike, the bass player, and Jerry came into my work all the time. So I had submitted a tape. They were very interested because I have this uncanny ability to sound like anybody, so I can sound like Lane, not a problem. So I worked it out, was in talks with Mike and the band, and they were very interested. I was, of course, very interested, and I'm singing for Alice in Chains. And I love Alice in Chains. And this is the way it happened, is that we're talking, I'm learning, I'm getting ready to go in and meet with these guys and rehearse with them. And out of nowhere, they get a surprise summer couple of shows in Europe. I said, well, I'll be ready. They're like, well, we're and William was the singer for Jerry's band. And so William was already singing, and they're like, well, William already knows the stuff. William's going to cover these gigs. I was like, okay, cool. Call me when you get back. Well, when they got back, they're like, we're going to keep William because he already knows this stuff. And I was like, it was a poor me thing for a long time. But what I recognized, and that goes on for a lot of different things. I was in LA. I was called the Captain This Close. So I was always almost the singer for. I was almost the singer for Blind Melon. I was almost the singer for Fuel. I was almost the singer for Alice in Chains. I was almost the singer. Blah 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 blah. Goes on and on and on. And then I really messed up some things up too. Like I'll tell you a story real quick. Is that my band in LA with Jim was doing very well, and I come home one day, and the phone rings, and this is a true story, absolute true story. Phone rings. I said hello. He goes, hell, he's Wade there, and I go, yeah, this is Wade. He goes, Wade, this is Peter Criss. I went, fuck you. Click, and the fucking phone rings back again. He goes, Wade, hold on a second. It really is Peter Criss. And I was like, yes, Mr. Criss, how can I help you? He's like, I've been hearing, I don't want to do his accent, but anyway, he's like, I've been hearing about you. You're really good. And so, would you like to come join my band? And I remember being so stupid. And this goes back to like me not being the smartest guy. Just, I have balls of steel, but not a brain of anything. And I was like, thank you, Peter. Thank you, Mr. Criss. Thank you for thinking of me, but I want to be I don't want to start off being somebody else's singer. And then fast forward years later, I'm trying desperately to be Alice in Chains' singer. And I mean, there's just so many things, but my point is this. Everything that you've been through, it's like Slumdog Millionaire. Every little thing, every mistake that I made, everything that crashed, everything that I don't regret any of it. Because to be quite honest with you, if I wasn't sober at the time, I didn't have any spirituality, I didn't have any faith. So if I would have gone on the road with Peter Criss, or if I would have become the singer for Alice in Chains, I would have ended up just like Lane. Because I was into drugs, I was into drinking. And so I think, I told you about my faith earlier. I think God has a purpose, and God has a way of like, you're not supposed to be here. I know you like it, but you're not supposed to be here. I got other things for you. So that's the story on Alice in Chains. I still love those guys to this day, but yes, it's a long way of saying I was almost the singer for Alice in Chains. Here's what we're planning to do for BAHRF. We're going to just lay waste to the stage like we normally do. With Brent on board, he's a powerhouse, and
nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Iced Earth drummer. It's just gonna be a powerhouse. It's just gonna be, we're gonna go in there and just lay waste. We're gonna show these young kids how it's supposed to be done. Well, I sang the whole record when we got together for Jimmy's memorial, and it sounded pretty good. I still have it. I still have the chops, but it's not something that it just doesn't, it doesn't inspire me like it used to. Leather Nunn still inspires me. Being on stage with these guys really inspired me. That was a wonderful thing. So it's going to be, whatever shows Leather Nunn does this year, it's going to be great. But for me personally, I'm an actor, and I make a lot of movies. I'm a character actor. I'm on a bunch of TV shows and films and stuff like that. So for me to mold myself back into that character of this metalhead was very easy. It was just an acting gig, So, and it's theater. It's fun. So it's loud, obnoxious theater, with hopefully with, crazed fans throwing panties at the stage. So yes, you're allowed to. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited. I can pull this off. So the question is, are we considering new material? Yeah. We do have, and we didn't get to the point where we talked about this. Is like it was years later that we got contacted by this Greek label that we then wanted. I think we did talk about it. The Greek label, they wanted to redo the record and put it out in CD form. And so they did. So technically we have a label. We have a record label in Greece. Now, if this show is successful, maybe other shows are successful, we'll just see. It's not I'm not ruling it out. You know what I mean? I'm not ruling it out. And I don't think it'd be silly to say no. Because I said no to Leather Nunn for many, many, many years. So I'm not saying no. So the answer is maybe.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
If it's something that can start to explode and get big, and there becomes a huge need and want for us to do that, why not? But if it's something people just want to ride the nostalgia train for a little while, we'll do our shows and say our goodbyes, and we'll all hug each other and on with life.
Yeah. To me, it's not a yes or no. It's just, we'll wait and see. I don't want to force it.
No.
I want it to be natural. You know, if the fan
It's meant
base
to be, it'll happen.
Hey, there you go. Come on.
Yeah, I'm up for it myself. I'm up for it myself.
Yeah.
But, you know, also what Jerry was saying is like, if it's something that's going to be big and happen soon and fast, yeah, because
We're not getting any younger.
we're getting it's late in the game. We're already 60, 61 years old.
Really? You're
What
that
are we
old?
going to do in 10 years?
I'm not 60 yet.
But I would visit the way we wrote. I would revisit. I would think, can we put ourselves back in that? And this is just discussion because he asked the question. I would want to go back to that original thing. Like if people falling in love with Take the Night all over again after 40 years, and then they go, you guys are getting back together. I don't want to show up with Chinese Democracy. You know what I mean? I want to show up with Appetite for Destruction. Right. So I would ask that we go back and go back to that original thing. Like think like that. And the reason it worked was because, like I said before you got here, Josh, the reason it worked is Jerry and John play so differently, and their sounds are so different that when you put those things together, it just works like I've never heard before. You know, like you said, you got Journey over here and you got, Slayer over there, and it's not supposed to work together, but it does. So those two guitar players playing together again I would love to hear that. I would.
I've got a million guitar riffs that just waiting to be heard to see if it's Leather Nunn material or if it's no, that don't sound like Leather Nunn or whatever we want to sound like.
We'll talk to our record company, see if we can come up with $100,000.
What's the next sound? Is it going to be just like it was, or are we evolved?
If we got back together, I would hope that we would revisit the style of Take the Night again. When Guns N' Roses tried to do Chinese Democracy, it didn't work. So when Guns N' Roses got back together with the original lineup, now it's working very, very well. So I would want, if we got back together and did anything, it would have to be because the fans demanded it. It'd have to be because a record company got involved. It would have to be because someone wanted to pay for the recording and the marketing and all that stuff. And it's very possible, but yeah, I would want to revisit. So I have no problem. I'm not going to show up trying to put in Charlie Daniels into Leather Nunn. I'm not putting George Jones into Leather Nunn, and so I'll go back to that 16-year-old singer and do that. But we'll see. So BAHRF is one of those things where we're going to go, and it's like we're playing March 13th, Friday, March 13th, and if this goes well, I think then we'll take it from there. If it goes well and we do a great job, which I think we will, and the fans accept us, and we don't walk off stage going, what did we do that for? We walk off stage like we walked off of Jimmy's Memorial, which is magic. It was magic. We'll just see. We'll take it from there. No pressure.
There's no pressure on me. I think at the level that these guys are, they're going to bring it. I did watch some of the Memorial. It sounded really good to me. They have a killer drummer. I think it's going to work. There's no pressure on me at all. I think it's a pressure on the fans to come out. That's where the pressure is right now, to look at this event and not want to miss it. That's the thing with the lineup that we have. I think it's on them to come out, know the songs, and make these songs what they are. Sing along to fucking some metal anthems, because there's so many on that record.
When Wade contacted me, I'd never heard of it either, being from Jacksonville. But after I didn't meet Josh, but after hearing of what he's done, it gave me confidence on his ability to make things happen and to put on a good show. And that I'd like to see a lot of promotion put into it, to where we can get a lot of fans there. I've been telling all of my friends, a lot of my friends are coming from Jacksonville to come see us. They're already wanting to get tickets.
And they should, because it's going to be the only it's going to be the only show in Florida for a long,
some of my oldest
time.
friends, that you grew up with, and but yeah, I think it's a great thing, and I'm excited, and I'm hoping to do more shows, because that's what I just love playing with these guys.
I'm very excited about it. I was never familiar with the show because I'm not from this area, but looking back on past stuff on what it's been, the crowd turnout, it's very exciting to be able to do that. And normally I'm not very nervous about that. I'm nervous about this show. It's going to be the line in the sand for a lot of stuff. But
don't fuck it up.
oh, I won't.
Don't fuck it
I'm
up.
bringing my A game. But no, Josh is a very nice guy, very exciting. He's always been really friendly. I think he's genuine, like I've said before. To me, that goes miles ahead of anything else. We're going to do the best that we can to make him happy. I hope it turns out to be a great event. I think it will be.
Yeah, I think so too. So at BAHRF, we're gonna. I love saying that. At BAHRF, at BAHRF, March 13th, we're doing the entirety of the record, and because it was Josh who reminded me that it's our 40th year anniversary. I didn't know, as you could tell, most of this interview, I don't know much, which is great. But Josh is like, you should do the whole record, and then Josh said,
You should do the whole record. Right?
and I said, that sounds like a plan. So, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the entirety of the record for the first time ever, because we've never done that. So we're going to do it from the beginning to end. It's like you're going to be watching the record live. Take the Night, which is the quintessential cult classic metal record in Europe and Greece and Japan and Germany. And again, we're very grateful for that. We're doing the entire thing from beginning to end in one fell swoop, and it's going to be awesome. And thank you to Josh for making that happen.
Absolutely. Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it.
Very well. Thank you.
I heard the screaming all through the night, filled with pride. We felt it breaking the angel's cry. I was the lie. It came to me, I was so unjust to the one that cared for me. It came to me, I was so blind, I couldn't really see. Take me back on the track. Take me back, forget the lies. Take me back, fill the crack of my heart. We'll find the time. We built it coming all full of fear. Shed a tear. I just kept running. The bond will quake, my heart will break. It came to me, I was so unjust to the one that cared for me. It came to me, I was so blind, I couldn't really see. Take me back on the track. Take me back, forget the lies. Take me back, fill the crack of my heart. We'll find the time. mists of the night. He came to me so lonely. It was my fault. I couldn't see. In the heat of the night, I came to you so lonely. It was my fault. We couldn't be, we couldn't be, we couldn't be. Take me back through the crack of my heart. We'll find the time. Take me back on the track. Take me back, forget the lies. Take me back.